said, what?
How could they do something like that?
Are you serious?
What a thirsty MFer.
Not good. She's absolutely dead to me.
That's because she died.
I'm Sterling Mulberry.
And I'm Blair Payton. And welcome to
Bad Behavior, a morally questionable podcast
where two unqualified friends,
two unhinged comedians,
determine once and for all what is good
and what is bad. Hello and welcome to Bad Behavior. I'm Sterling.
And I am Blair.
And before we dive into it, we have a question we want to open up to all of our listeners that we were kind of deliberating on this morning. And we want to know, has anyone ever gotten over anything? Because we both decided that we haven't.
So sound off in the chat below.
Can you tell I had therapy today and it's June gloom?
I'm going to be profound for a second, so walk with me.
Yeah,
here.
please.
I don't think we ever really get over anything. I think we just take it inward, let it deteriorate our insides, and then we funnel it out into something creative or damaging like drugs or stand-up comedy, which is kind of hand in hand if you think about it.
Yeah. Well, I am coming off of a little trip. I've been gallivanting across California.
Oh, gallivanting, you say?
I've been in Joshua Tree this weekend, and I went to San Diego.
What is Joshua Tree? What is the significance?
It's a national park. So kind of famously on this podcast, I revealed a deep, dark secret is that I went to a national park last year and kind of
defaced it.
Things on rocks. Yeah. And I'll now bravely come out and say that was Joshua Tree, and I did go back, and I was good this time, and I didn't do anything bad. I stayed on trail.
Well, while you were living on the wild side, I was having an issue back stateside. Uh-huh. So you know how fiber is super important?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I had an overabundance.
I'm scared. What are you going to talk about right now?
I had an overabundance of fiber, and I didn't really realize this until at the end of the night. I was having the most painful gas.
Okay. I know.
Okay, but that's as gross as it gets. But it was like so painful. I'm telling you, it was like crampy bad. And I have never had gas this bad. And so I was like on like WebMD, and I was like, what do you do for gas? And they were like, well, peppermint oil. Well, I have peppermint oil.
Okay.
I guess like the smell or the taste is supposed to like calm down the contraction in your bowels. I don't know. It didn't work. So I was like Googling where to buy Gas X because it hit like an all-time high around 11 p.m. and a lot of stuff was closed. So I found that they had it at the 7-Eleven around the corner. So I put on my flip-flops and it was coming in spasms. So I'm like hobbling down my street to the 7-Eleven. Like I'm hunched over in pain. And so I didn't want the guy to think I was only buying Gas X. So I bought a Diet Dr. Pepper. And then I was like, oh, Gas X, this seems great. But meanwhile, I'm like, I'm at a 45-degree angle paying for Gas X.
Yeah.
And can I just say, Gas X, I love you so much because I was so scared. I was like, am I going to go to the hospital? And then I started thinking, I can't imagine giving birth.
Well, wait, really quick, can I tell you something? One time my stomach hurt so bad, and I was kind of having that experience.
It's the worst.
And I went to the hospital.
What did they say?
If they tell me I have 1,000 farts inside of me, I'm going to literally die. And you know what? Thank God he came through for once and he gave me appendicitis. So it was ultimately appendicitis.
Yes.
I was coming from a TV game show audition. It was kind of like...
Can you say which game show?
It never made it to air. I think it was one with Craig Ferguson. It was like kind of like the game Taboo where you're like guessing words or whatever. And the pain was really starting to hit me there. I was like hunched over. I was like Googling symptoms. Anyways, so I went from this game show audition straight to Beverly Hills Cedars-Sinai Hospital. No. Anyways, but they had given me this purple wristband that you like snapped on, like one of those concert wristbands that you have to like cut off with scissors. I didn't have time to cut it off because I just went straight to the hospital. And the whole time I was at the hospital, I was there for a couple days. Like being like, did we give you that wristband? Did we give you that wristband? And I'd be like, no, I was at this reality game show audition, whatever. And the last day I get a new set of nurses. I've been in the hospital about 2 days. And the nurse like, hey, did we give you that wristband? I was like, no, reality game show audition, famously. She's like, oh, we actually have the same bracelet in the hospital. And so do not resuscitate wristband. So as a 20-year-old, I went into surgery with the DNR bracelet on. for literally getting my appendix removed. But I was, okay, wait, really quick. Okay, I had the nightgown on and I had to take off my underwear, okay, because you're in the hospital. They're doing these movements. I'm in the hallway. I don't even have a room in the hospital. It was like too crowded. And I was in college at the time. And this guy was like my nurse. I don't know. Now this is maybe going to sound creepy, but he was like doing these movements with my legs. But I remember literally no underwear on because they had made me take them off.
Oh, yeah.
And this guy's like, oh, I go to USC too. I was like, literally my whole
Stop making small talk with me.
Was open to the whole hallway, and he was doing this, and he's like kind of cute and like went to USC, and I was like, I'm gonna literally die. Like I'm literally naked, and then they're literally asking me about how bad my stomach hurts.
No, they recommended, WebMD said to do yoga movements. So I was like doing that because I was like, maybe I don't need Gas X. Boy, I needed it.
Well, I'm so glad that I've always really wanted a very cool sponsor for our podcast, and I'm so glad Gas X came through for us today.
Well, speaking of gas.
Oh, no. This is terrible.
We have our live show coming up on Saturday, July 15th at Littlefield in Brooklyn. Starts at 9 p.m. and it features incredible comedians Sam Taggart, Joyelle Nicole Johnson, Richard Perez, and Sabrina Breyer. Get your tickets now. You can go to littlefieldnyc.com or go to our show description. There is a link there. Can't wait to see you. Well, without further ado, let's bring on our guest. You know her from performing stand-up all over New York. She's currently on tour this summer. Please welcome our guest, Abby Govindan. All right, Abby, thank you so much for doing our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. Yeah, I was just telling you guys before we started recording that I've never met a female Sterling and a male Blair. So I guess this is
a big day for you. How are you feeling? What are your emotions?
I'm feeling great. Gender is a social construct. You know what I'm saying? We're all breaking barriers in our own way. No, I'm feeling really, really good. I am getting ready to leave to go to Seattle to do some comedy shows. I'm a big fan of the city. I look for any excuse to go.
Now, here's my question, not to bring it down. Do you know about serial killers in Washington State?
Oh my God, no, I do. And here's the thing. One of my pilot ideas is about an Indian girl who moves to Seattle to like make it as a serial killer. And then she gets really frustrated every time the news attributes her like murders to like white serial killers. And so I am very well aware that Seattle has the most active serial killers in the entire country. It is because of all the forest space. It does make me a little bit paranoid, like whenever I go on walks, like when I'm visiting my sister in Seattle.
Are you going in the forest?
No, but like everywhere is forest. Have you been? There's like giant swaths.
I lived there for a year and I was nervous. I was like,
yeah.
Well, I was like, I don't want it to be like this. I was like, I get it. I get why they have the highest population of serial killers.
No, because
this place, again, gorgeous, very depressing. Gorgeous, very depressing. Literally, I didn't see like a sprinkle of sun for like a month and a half. And I was like, yeah, I'm getting why people kill, you know?
Sterling, I don't know if you want to own up to that on a public.
Well, don't worry. I transferred colleges and I said, I have got to go to the sun and I moved to LA. So,
So you don't feel a murdering.
Yeah.
She felt it coming on and she was proactive about it.
But speaking of murdering and conflict.
Yeah.
We like to ask our guests that come on the podcast about their style and approach to conflict, but kind of in a funny way. Not
of course,
people get really serious, and that's actually okay.
Not in like a group therapy way.
Well, I just had therapy today. Blair had therapy yesterday, so we're still in that vibe.
But it's an open space, so if you need to go to a dark place, we will hold your hand.
Yeah, so I kind of just take a landmine approach, which is I'm just telling everyone how I feel. It is not
so
always
just blowing things up.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, people are always like, oh, like I hate a confrontational bitch or whatever. I don't really see it that way. I see it as like these, like the people that are actively in my life are in my life because I care about them and I know that they care about me. And but the best thing about conflict for me is just texting someone being like, hey, this hurt my feelings, or hey, things have been feeling distant between us lately. And that's kind of how I talk to everyone. Like my mom, whenever I'm upset, has a tendency to be like, well, you should be doing this, this, and this differently. Like, this is what you got into. Like, money's been a huge stressor because like I've, had a few management shakeups and a bunch of shows got canceled and a bunch of opportunities fell through. And so like every time I call my mom upset, she's like, well, this is what you get for like pursuing stand-up comedy full time, but I'm like, Mom, like I told her like millions of times. I've been like, Mom, like when I call you, I need reassurance. Like I need you to be like, everything's going to be okay. Like obviously no one knows that everything is going to be okay, but that reassurance in that moment is like what will make me feel better. She never learns. And you know what? I'll probably have to tell her a million more times, but that's kind of I'm like, here's what I need from you, you know?
Waiting to buy a home? The Churchill Mortgage team says now is a great time to buy. Waiting could be a costly mistake because when rates drop, new home buyers will flood the market, driving up home prices. Go to churchillmortgage.com for your free analysis and see how home values can outpace rates to help you build wealth over time faster. This is a paid advertisement. NMLS ID 1591. NMLSconsumeraccess.org. Equal housing lender. 1749 Mallory Lane, Suite 100, Brentwood, Tennessee 37027.
The holidays start here at Baker's with a variety of options to celebrate traditions old and new. Whether you're making a traditional roasted turkey or spicy turkey tacos, your go-to shrimp cocktail, or your first Cajun risotto, Baker's has all the freshest ingredients to embrace your traditions. Baker's, fresh for everyone.
We've locked in low prices to help you save big store-wide. Look for the locked in low prices tags and enjoy extra savings throughout the store. Baker's, fresh for everyone.
So we have a game on this podcast called Heaven or Hell. This is going to be a game where there's going to be certain behaviors and examples of those behaviors, and you're going to decide if this is heaven for you, hell, or if you're kind of ambivalent, purgatory.
Oh, perfect.
Today, our game is going to be based on one of your merch shirts that is Hot Girls Can't Do Math.
Oh my God.
We have certain behaviors we believe hot girls do, and we would like you to judge if this is heaven, hell, or purgatory behaviors that these hot girls are doing.
Let me just say, hot girl is not objective. It is subjective. Anyone can be a hot girl. It is a mindset. Hot girl, gender neutral, by the way, is what I mean. Like when I'm talking about hot girls, I'm talking about everyone. So.
Okay, well, amazing. All right, Blair, do you want to kick us off with number one?
I would love to. Thank you, Sterling. Our first one. Hot girls that are one of the boys.
Oh, hell. Go to hell. Oh my God. Look, it's one thing if you can get along with men. I have a lot of friends in general. I have more female friends than male friends because I find myself like having more in common with women than men. But to make your entire personality being able to get along with men is a little bit, in my opinion, problematic because you're centering the male perspective. You're throwing other women under the bus. It's not really anything to be proud of. Like, I know there are a lot of girls who are like, I have more male friends than female friends. I'm like, I would keep that shit to myself if I were you. That's like really, that's really fucking embarrassing, actually.
Yeah. Okay. So your stance is hell for a guy's girl. A guy's girl?
Yeah, a guy's
I could
girl.
never
well,
be
the
one.
thing is,
I could never.
You can get along with men. That's fine. But why are you making it your personality trait?
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Number two. Hot girls that love flaming hot Cheetos.
Oh, heaven, for sure. That's me. That's me. I am obsessed with flaming hot Cheetos. Yeah, definitely. Heaven behavior. Go straight to heaven.
I've never had a flaming hot Cheeto. So if you are trying to entice me to eat a flaming hot Cheeto, sell me on it.
Oh, hell yeah. I already know how to sell you on it. So the fun fact about the creation of the Flamin' Hot Cheeto is that this son of Mexican immigrants was working as a janitor, I want to say, for the Frito-Lay headquarters. And so he would take a bag of Cheetos, or like bags of Cheetos home and spice them himself with like spices off the family rack. And one day his wife was like, this is delicious. You have to find a way to like pitch it. And
Wait,
so
didn't they make this a movie?
He brought it to the, yeah, they did. So he brought it to the CEO or someone, CMO or something, and they loved it. And now it's actually more popular than their regular chip. Now, I've known this story for years. I think it's really, really cool. I think it's really cool, especially because I feel like that can't really happen like anymore these days. Like I think, like reaching people at these senior levels with an idea is like impossible, but I think it's super cool. He is now the chief marketing executive, that janitor, which is really cool. And they are releasing a movie called Flamin' Hot that I believe Jessica Alba Eva Longoria. Eva Longoria is directing. By buying Flamin' Hot Cheetos, you are supporting a big corporation, sure, but also showing this big corporation to an extent that like giving new ideas a chance to flourish from immigrants is the way to go. Now, is Frito-Lay going to get any more diverse anytime soon? Probably not, because you bought a bag of cheese. Probably not, but the idea of it possibly happening is nice.
Okay. Sold.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, next one. Hot girls that only skateboard to their destination.
Oh, heaven.
Okay.
Heaven, and also give her my phone number. You know what I'm saying? Damn. Yeah. Heaven for sure.
Now, would there be any difference between, I feel like those skateboards really went out, but what were those little skateboards called?
Penny boards.
Yeah, would there be any difference for you if she was more of a penny boarder?
If she was one of those like streetwear girls, it would be no difference, because I think a woman who can rock streetwear is wife material. But I will let beautiful women get away with corny behavior more than I let men get away with corny behavior. So if it was a man, straight to hell. You know what I'm saying? I used to date a guy like way back when I was 19, which in my opinion, whoever you date when you're 19 shouldn't even count. So he wanted to do parkour like for a living, and he like
Wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah, he wanted to do parkour for a living. And if I ever met a man who wanted to do parkour for a living, I'd be like, corny, bye. But if I ever met a girl who wanted to do parkour for a living, I'd be like, queen. Feminist queen. You're trying to make it in a male-dominated industry.
I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
People make money doing parkour? I thought you just ran up and like kicked the wall and that's it.
Yeah. So I don't know if there's I think there's official sports competition events for parkour. Nowadays it's more so influencers, like Instagram people with a lot of followers who can get brand deals from it. But yeah.
Weird.
Now, one tiny last question on this one before we go to the next one. Now, again, this is a hot girl that will only skateboard to their destination. So if you're ever hanging out, she's going to be like, I'll meet you there.
Yeah. Like, what if you're going to the Met?
On her penny board?
She's
so I can't even get on?
No room for you. You'd kind of have to jog alongside. Would that take it down a notch or still so hot?
I do try to get 10K steps every day. So maybe it wouldn't be a deal breaker. I do like roller skating. So maybe it especially wouldn't be a deal breaker. Yeah. But again, if it was a guy, I'd be like straight to hell.
Okay. Hot girls that carry around canvas tote bags with fresh flowers from the farmer's market.
Oh, straight to, purgatory. Let me explain why this is purgatory, because I pictured the most irritating person ever. I was just like, this is a girl who would go on and on about, someone who listens to NPR and would try to talk to you about politics. You know what? No, I'm going to send her to heaven. She's probably a nice, well-meaning girl.
Wow.
She's probably a nice, well-meaning girl. The flowers from the farmer's market is very sweet. Support local. It's much better than buying flowers at Target.
Wow, the growth that we experienced in just such a short time is astounding.
Thank you.
Okay, next one. Hot girls that have stomach issues. A classic one.
Oh, hot girls with IBS. God gives his toughest battles to his hottest soldiers. So.
Okay, I like that.
Am I being a coward? I'm sending everyone to heaven.
No, that's literally fine. All hot girls go to heaven.
Yeah, okay. All hot girls go to heaven. Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, let's see if this girl goes to heaven.
Let's see.
Hot girls that can't make it to your birthday because they're actually going to be in Mykonos that weekend.
Oh, hell. What? Postpone your trip. It's me. The fuck? I actually just had my birthday party this past Saturday, and a bunch of my friends were like, thank you. A bunch of my friends were like, oh, sorry, I can't come. I'm in Los Angeles or New Orleans. I was like, fuck those places. Just come. You know what I'm saying? I thought I'm your friend. No, hell. If you can't come to my birthday party, hell.
Okay, the last one. Hot girls that only drink room temp filtered water with lemon from a large mason jar.
I'm going to say purgatory, because I do only drink room temperature filtered water. You lost me at lemon mason jar. I want to say that's fancier than it needs to be, and you deserve to be in purgatory with all the other annoying people. You know what I say?
But you're getting that vitamin C from the lemon, and you're fighting scurvy.
That is true. Heaven then? I don't know.
Okay,
I'm being
great.
a coward. I'm sending everyone to heaven. No,
Okay.
okay. I'm working on my internalized misogyny. All hot girls go to heaven for the most part.
Right now, new and current customers can get any phone for free at US Cellular, so you can connect with all your family members this holiday season. You could even call your aunt who always makes you talk to your cousin, who's a dog. Or, maybe just send her a festive text. Get the gift of connection at US Cellular. Get any phone free today. US Cellular, built for us. Terms apply. Visit uscellular.com for details.
We value human connection with fewer distractions. U.S. Cellular, built for us. Visit your U.S. Cellular authorized agent, Cellular Advantage, located at 918 South Locust Street in Glenwood.
Before Shopify, were you wondering, where are my sales at? Now you're selling with Shopify, the global commerce platform supercharging your selling. You have no problem selling online, in person, on social media, and beyond. Gary, easy on the cha-ching.
Oh, sorry, but my Shopify sales are through the roof.
Start selling with Shopify today and discover how millions of businesses around the world use Shopify to ignite their selling. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/profits23. Shopify.com/profits23.
You have a story for us today.
Allow me to plead my case when it comes to it. So my cat is very emotionally manipulative, okay? She's about to turn 2 years old, and her meow is much more high-pitched than most cats her age. It was explained to me that it is most likely because she's sensed that that is what people respond to, so she's like playing young or whatever. She is very chaotic. The crime rate in my house is sky high. This is perhaps generational trauma because whenever I was growing up and I irritated my mom, she'd be like, "Hey, Abby, you're adopted, right?" And I'd always be like, "Mom, that can't be true because I look exactly like you." And she would be like, "No, yeah, how after a while dogs start looking like their owners? That's kind of what's happening here." And then every time I misbehaved, I have a whole stand-up set about this. Every time I misbehaved, she'd be like, "I'm just going to drop you off at the orphanage," or like back at the orphanage. They have a great return policy. Or she would be like, "I'm just going to ship you off to boarding school in India," which actually after growing up, I learned was a universal experience for a lot of Indian kids. Like a lot of Indian kids, every time they misbehaved, their parents would be like, "We're just going to send you to boarding school in India." And so that is where I get it from. I was not traumatized by that. I always thought it was very funny. I think my mom shaped my sense of humor. So now, recently, last year, my cat, Nilla, she knocked a vase off of the table. And I looked at her and I was like, Nilla, euthanasia is covered by your insurance. I could just get rid of you for free. So don't make me do a cost-benefit analysis. And every time she misbehaved, that was kind of my go-to. Like, I was like, Nilla, euthanasia, it's covered by your insurance. Don't make me do a cost-benefit analysis. And now, as I was telling you guys before, Elon Musk took over Twitter. And so he got rid of all of these filter provisions on Twitter. So there's a huge community of people who just post a bunch of snuff on Twitter. But the reason that you or I didn't see it for the most part is because there were all these provisions to filter it out. Now, when he came, he kind of stripped those provisions away in the name of like not censoring conservative voices, but kind of the issue that arises from that is a lot of these snuff videos that we wouldn't otherwise see unless we like really went looking for them came to the forefront because they weren't being filtered. And so there was this video, this like horrific video that went viral in a way that videos like this don't really go viral. And it was of a cat apparently being slaughtered in a blender. So that video went viral like a few weeks ago. It was very recent, that like snuff video. And then my cat started acting up even more. And then like without even thinking about it, I was like, Nilla, there are people out here putting cats in blenders. So don't act up too much. And it was just supposed to be like a one-off. And the guy that I'm like seeing was over and he was like, at first he was like, "That's kind of fucked up to say." And then like by the end of the week, he was like, every time Nilla would act up, he'd be like, "Nilla, don't make us get out the blender." And he like, "But you're going to say this is bad behavior, but here is my defense. My cat did knock over a very expensive earring into the vet, okay? And she knocked last year she knocked over a very expensive vase. She has spilled so much coffee the house is always dusty because of her. Like, she is always tracking litter. And my final defense, which I think should be taken into consideration the most, she can't speak English. It's not like I'm traumatizing her in any meaningful way. Also, disclaimer, I do love her. Like, she's the love of my life. She has made moving to New York so much easier. She like gives me purpose, kind of. There was a few months where things were really rough, and you know, I had a falling out with a group of friends that I really adored, and money was tight and I had a lot of gigs getting canceled, whatever. And I was like, I can't handle this. Maybe I'll just move home. But Nilla kind of gave me a purpose. Like, I was like, I'm a single mom. Like, I have to work hard, get a 1-bedroom apartment, like make sure it's spacious, I have to like get her the nicest cat litter and the cat toys or whatever. So I want to clarify, I do treat her really well. She can't understand me. As far as she knows, I'm speaking gibberish. I'm just making jokes in the way that a comedian does.
So one might say you are TV's Reba, a single mom.
A single mom
who works 2 jobs. It always comes back to Reba from Texas. You know this.
And I was just about to say that show takes place in Texas, so I am Reba.
Okay, I have some questions. Can we dive in?
Yeah.
Have you read any cat or kitten parenting articles, books, anything in that genre?
I am well versed.
Okay. It's really hard to train cats. It can be really hard because like I think some of it is like, one, their like attention span / memory is like really, really tiny. So you have to do like the like punishment or reward like really quick in order for them to like realize that is going with the behavior they just did.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know if it's cats or dogs now. Oh no. I think it's cats though, that they really only respond to rewards. Is that true? Or is that only dogs?
I don't know. I know that cats are more intelligent than dogs. I read somewhere that they are more intelligent. They just choose not to exercise that intelligence. Like, for example, dogs will almost always come when called. Cats hear you calling their name. And they in fact have more.
And they'll think about it.
Yeah, exactly. They'll like ponder it for a second before coming or not coming. But maybe that's true because I've been trying to train my cat and it hasn't been going well at all. So
okay, I just Googled. It says cats are more receptive to rewards and treats than they are to punishment. But then they said get this. But you can discourage bad behavior by a few tricks. It actually recommends you should be shaking a can with pennies in it to startle your cat.
Good to know. Is that really less traumatizing than me just speaking gibberish at her?
Well, this is my question. You did just say she's very intelligent. And you started this off by saying, something that your parents said to you when your kid's still sticking with you, right? To this day. And so my worry is she's young. We don't know how much she can understand. You might be doing you're passing on generational
trauma.
Yeah.
Listen, my mom made a lot of jokes at me when I was a kid, and now I'm a stand-up comedian, okay? Which is probably every parent's worst nightmare.
And so we have to get your cat on America's Got Talent to see if she can
truly
to also be a stand-up cat.
One thing you kept mentioning is the fact that your cat speaks a different language. Mm-hmm. And that can be hard, the language barrier. Have you ever attempted to maybe look into a way to open that line of communication?
I do meow at her and she looks at me like I'm crazy. And it was akin to when I went to France and I tried to speak like my 9th grade level of 1 year of French, and they really looked at me like, this bitch is like mispronouncing, there's grammatical errors, she doesn't care to learn the language, I'm just not even gonna make her feel good for trying. And that's the way my cat has a very French aura to her. Although cats are native to Egypt, and so maybe I should try to learn Arabic. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, can I hear what your meow sounds like? I think that will help with the assessment.
Are you a furry? Is that why you're asking me this? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I've had a cat, and my niece has cats, so I'm around them. I understand their culture. I know how they speak.
Of course.
I just want to get an idea of what your cat is hearing.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I try to match her pitch. So I go meow. How's that?
To me, now this is my perception. There seems to be a hint of just a little sarcasm in there, maybe less sincerity. Something to ponder. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
You're so right.
You're caught on the spot right now, so it could be nerves.
It probably could be nerves. You know what I noticed is my cat is the closest I've ever heard a cat saying meow. Like she actually meows like everyone else's cat just making noises.
Like with perfect diction.
Yeah.
Meow.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Okay, now I have a question.
Yeah.
If it's not too personal, could you give me a ballpark range on maybe the pricing of these valuable vase and one earring?
I paid $60 for the vase, and I did pay $80 for the earrings. So the single earring was $40, although you could argue that a single earring to me is useless. So I did lose $80.
Unless you have like a second hole. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So you could argue that it's 60 and 80, so 140, because once you lose one earring, the other one becomes useless. It's not like,
Okay.
So 140, which because I'm a stand-up comedian is a high risk investment for me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And would you say this time in your life that you went through that was a little bit tricky, that maybe you were losing some gigs, would you say that cost was maybe over $140?
Oh, for sure.
What she has maybe destroyed in your apartment and all of these things, I think might be price-wise less than kind of what you lost. And she kind of saved you in this time. You know, like you lost all these things, you lost some money, but she was able to kind of be your rock. And all she did was kind of lose $140 along the way. And so I worry that kind of your treatment, you should be kind of actually just
singing
unfair. Praises.
Listen. I only chastise her as much as a parent should chastise a child. It's not like I'm going out of my way to be like, I'm gonna euthanize you. It's like when she does some annoying shit. Like, she always acts like she's starving, even though like I feed her exactly as much as I'm supposed to be feeding like a 2-year-old adult cat. But she's always meowing. She has figured out that men are weaker than women. So if there's a man ever at the apartment, or if I'm having a small gathering or even a party, she'll go around, seek out the men, and then meow at them.
Because they'll be more likely.
So yeah, she's very manipulative. Okay. And sometimes she'll just go, sometimes my Wi-Fi will go out and I'll be like, what is going on? And she just like pulled the plug because she was bored. She has no use for scrunchies, but she'll just steal my scrunchies. I don't know why. Here's the most frustrating thing. Like I have friends who are like, TNR, trap and release, like cat rescuers, and they're like very like familiar with cats. I have a lot of friends who have been cat people their whole lives, whereas I only got my first cat 5 years ago. And they will come over and they'll see Nilla playing with like zip ties and pipe cleaners, and they'll be like, hey, your cat is understimulated, making me look like a bad parent. But at least like once every 3 months, I go to the pet store and I'm like, hey, my cat will not play with any of these expensive toys. She's always just playing with zip ties and pipe cleaners, which don't even ask me where she gets. The pipe cleaners I do buy for her because I read online that they're safe to play with.
Why do you have zip ties, by the way?
No. So it's like,
are you preparing for Seattle?
Yeah, I'm one of the circlers. No, like when I buy new toys, or like when I buy new things like scissors and stuff, they're like wrapped with zip ties, and then they're the little twist ties that like come on the bagel things or the tortillas and stuff. She'll like, I make sure to throw those away because she could swallow them, but she'll magically just find like, I don't know, some maybe in the corner, or like she just like goes out of her way to find them. So once every 3 months, I will go to the pet store. I'll be like, here's what they recommend. It's always a different pet store, and I'm like, here's what they recommended last time. She doesn't touch any of that. Can you please recommend me new stuff this time? Come home with like a new bundle of toys, and she never does any of it. She only plays with the stuff that is bad for her health. Like the scrunchies are safe.
But it seems like she's trying to save you money ultimately.
See, I'm getting something different.
What are you getting? Blair? What are you getting?
Something that you said at the beginning when you were beginning your story really stuck in my craw, if you will. You said that as she's getting older, she's speaking as if she's younger, because that's how she gets attention. Mm-hmm. Now, as someone who experienced a pretty big birthday this year, getting older is hard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She's having a crisis.
She's having a hard time reconciling that.
She's having a 1/6 life crisis, a 1/7 life crisis.
Yeah, she's getting older. And you even said you two aren't even communicating.
You're right.
And you keep saying they recommend, as opposed to going to the source and saying, what do you want?
What do you
You're
want?
going to outside sources and say, hey, they recommend she would like this toy, but you're not communicating with her. She seems lost.
You know what? This is a really good point. I actually bought her a new toy with catnip in it. And the name of the catnip was Meowiwana. Like, that is the name of the company. And apparently they're supposed to find it, like, really, really addicting. And so I was like, this will be fun for her. But I brought it home. She has not touched it. She instead opts for like the fish toy that was a hand-me-down for my neighbor from last year. Like literally a 1.5-year old toy. I'm like, come on. Like, and then my friend was like, well, if you think about it, if it's the cat equivalent of marijuana, she dared to say no to drugs. And I was like, wow, I guess I am proud of her.
So on top of that, you're trying to push drugs on her. And she's just like a woman of a certain age. She's worried about the health effects.
Yeah.
She's probably even romantically lonely because you said she manipulates men, you know?
That's
she's
true.
not getting, she's not getting the attention she needs, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
So Blair, what are you leaning? Are you leaning bad?
I'm going to say bad. I'm pro cat in this situation. I feel. And you even threatened to blend her. Did you do the hand gesture? I'm going to blend you. And she saw that finger and she was like, that could be me. And I'm not ready to be a smoothie yet. You know, I've got 3 or 4 more years left.
She's 2. She's got like 12 years left.
We don't know.
You know what? You're right.
We don't know how big your blender is.
I think I'm also going to be leaning bad. Again, I think in this day and age, as we actually said earlier in this episode with your merch, hot girls can't do math, but this hot girl is doing math. And that is that this cat is trying to save you money repeatedly. She's kind of damaging items that are kind of pricey, but not like so pricey. And she's really like, she repeatedly keeps being like, I just want like hand-me-down toys, like nothing fancy, you know? And so I think the punishment of kind of death each time she does something bad, whether it's euthanasia or it's blender, which is ultimately both death, I think is a little too much for this cat that's really trying to ultimately save your life and save a penny.
She adds so much value to my life. Yeah, maybe I'm just perpetuating the cycle of comedic trauma. I'm like, maybe if I roast you in a funny way, you'll have some punchlines to tell.
Yeah.
Exactly.
5 years from now.
So, Abby, I think you have been officially deemed bad behavior.
You hear that, Nilla? She's watching me right now.
Because you have exhibited such bad behavior on the podcast today, we have a punishment for you.
Wait. Before we do this punishment, I did find a video of her meowing.
Okay.
Are you guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's meow, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Wow, such force. Talk to me! I hear fear in that meow.
Okay, you're right. Fear in those meows.
Those are more screams, if anything.
I deserve this.
Okay, so if you can, we have an apology today by iconic and beloved talk show host James Corden. That if you can read the apology in your own voice, but obviously using his words.
I didn't shout or scream. I didn't get up out of my seat. I didn't call anyone names or use derogatory language. I've been walking around thinking that I hadn't done anything wrong, right? But the truth is, I have.
Side note, English accent is on your resume, right?
Yeah, you really went into character for that one.
I know. Thank you.
Well, do you feel some guilt kind of lifted now that you kind of could apologize through the words of James Corden?
You know what? I feel more guilty than I did when I came on this podcast. I was standing by my parenting ways. I was like, I'd give a good life to this cat, and now I'm here being like, damn, someone call animal control. You know what I'm saying?
Look at it this way. This is the beginning of a new era in your relationship with Nilla.
You're so right. And I'm really grateful to you guys for ushering that era.
Of course.
You're welcome.
Of course. Well, before we wrap up today, do you have anything you want to plug or tell people where to follow you and all that jazz?
Yeah, you can find me at Abby Govindan on TikTok and Instagram, or at Abby Gov on Twitter. I will be touring this summer. I'll be going to Houston, my hometown, on July 1st, and then I'll be having a show in Chicago on August 19th. I'm working on some California dates. I'm working on some other dates. So hopefully I'll announce them as they come. But if you follow me, if you sign up for my newsletter, all of that will be updated as needed. What's that noise?
Is there a torrential downpour?
Oh, that is rain. That's crazy.
I was like, your cat is clawing to get out of your apartment.
No, that is rain. That's crazy. I didn't even notice that. Thank you so much for having me, guys. This was an illuminating and fun experience.
And that's our show. Thanks so much for listening today.
We absolutely hate to do this. We hate it.
But it would mean the world to us if you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you get podcasts, rate and review.
Follow us at Bad Behavior NYC on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks again for listening.
And remember, whatever your moral status, we are always here to judge.
Bye.
Do you think that was good?
Why don't more infant formula companies use organic, grass-fed whole milk instead of skim? Why don't more infant formula companies use the latest breast milk science? Why don't more infant formula companies run their own clinical trials? Why don't more infant formula companies use more of the proteins found in breast milk? Why don't more infant formula companies have their own factories instead of outsourcing their manufacturing? We wondered the same thing. So we made ByHeart, an infant formula company on a mission to get a lot closer to the most superfood on the planet, breast milk. Our patented protein blend has more of the important and most abundant proteins actually found in breast milk. We're the first and only U.S.-made formula to use organic, grass-fed whole milk, not skim. We even conducted the largest clinical trial by a new infant formula company in a quarter century, with clinically proven benefits like easier digestion, less spit up, and softer poops versus a leading infant formula. And we make our own formula in the USA and our very own factories in Iowa, Oregon, and Pennsylvania. ByHeart, a better formula for formula. Learn more at byheart.com.
Woodhouse Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is bringing you more power, capability, and savings with the full lineup of new Ram trucks during the Black Friday sales event going on all month long. Lease a 2024 Ram 1500 Crew Cab Bighorn for $429 per month. Visit our 2 convenient metro locations in Blair or Bellevue or online anytime. Lease for 42 months, 10,000 miles per year with approved credit. Tax, title, license extra. $2,500 down plus first payment and $299 doc fee to its signing. Example stock number BC230242. Offer expires 11/30/2023. See dealer for details.